Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr. H's Hot Pot. And day 17 of Mr. H's Florida Veelog, or vlogs as they're really called. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell are you still doing sat there, Mr. H, on that bench making vlogs? Has Mrs. H forgotten you and left you behind? Well, no, she hasn't, Hot Potters. It turns out that we're actually flying back home to the UK in the afternoon, Florida time. So Mrs. H is back in the hotel room and she's sorting out all her clothes, which items are going in which case. And I've been trying to help her. And I've been doing the man thing. Where's this going, love? Where's this going? And she said, you know, right, it's just easier. If you bugger off, can you not go and do one of your vlogs, or vlogs as you like to call them, and leave me to it, and then when the heavy lifting needs doing, come back in about half an hour's time and you can do that, and you can help by getting from under my feet. So she's kicked me out of the hotel room, Hot Potters, and here we are. So I thought I'd just make a quick vlog, a little last minute vlog. What I'll have to do afterwards is edit this up in the hotel lobby whilst we're awaiting our transfers off to the airport, and then by the time you're watching this, hopefully Mr. H will be in the air flying back to dear old Blighty. Boo-hoo. Now today, Hot Potters, I'm on Mountain Dew. I've held a couple of cans back specifically for the last day because I knew that our souvenir cups that I've been drinking out of for the past 16 days will no longer work on the soda fountain down in the hotel lobby. I've got to pay for my own now. And that's the way it goes, isn't it, Hot Potters? The minute your tickets and everything else expires, you become a paying guest, and it starts costing you a pretty penny if you haven't prepared. But luckily, when we went to Walmart the other day in the old jalopy, we prepared for this day, so they won't be getting any extra money out of us here. Now yesterday, we went to Hollywood Studios, we boxed that off, finally completed all our last days in the 4 parks, and our tickets now are no longer valid. All they're good for is a doorstop or a souvenir, and they'll probably go in a picture frame, because whenever we go back home and we've been on vacation, Mrs. H puts all little items, little souvenirs that we can put into a photo frame, and then she puts it on Toby's wall so we can look at it and enjoy it. And we purchased for him last night one of these droids, these BB-8s that's remote controlled, because all he's bothered about all this holiday is BB-8 from Star Wars. He's not really interested in the rest of the Star Wars franchise, he's just interested in BB-8 because he's the shape of a ball. And our Toby, he just likes balls, he calls things bally. So Epcot was his favourite park because of the big ball just inside the gates, and is the icon of that particular park. So he's really enjoyed it. He slept with it last night until he dropped off when I moved it, and then we're going to put it back just before he wakes up because it's about $100 worth, Hot Potters. But his grandparents had given him some spending money, so he chose to spend it on that. And hopefully he'll enjoy that when he gets back home. If not, Mr. H will play with it. You know, it's amazing when you go into that Star Wars land, the amount of money people are paying for lightsabers and things like that. And it's not kids that's paying it. Obviously, kids don't have that kind of money, but it's adults that's actually buying these lightsabers and stuff. And you think, well, what are you going to do with it when you get it back home? Alright, yeah, it's good walking around here with it, but what are you going to do with it? But I don't know. I'm not into Star Wars, personally. It's not my franchise of choice, so I prefer Star Trek, if I'm being honest. Not that I'm a big Star Trek fan, but if I had to choose between the two, that'd be the one I chose. Q getting flamed on this particular video now. There'll be lots of people leaving comments. How dare you say that about Star Wars? It's fantastic. But apparently Disney have ruined it, haven't they? They no longer stick with the original storylines and things like that that Lucas wrote, and for many of you, they've ruined it. But all they're interested in is how much money they can gouge out of it. They really are. That is what Disney is all about, getting your money. And you only realise that when the fun's ended. But the party will continue back at the Disney parks without the H's today. We're going to be those people sat there with our cases with the long faces in the hotel lobby, aren't we, in a short while. And as other people pass by, As they come in, you can say to yourself, beware my friend as you pass by. As you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you shall be. Prepare my friend to follow me. Don't know who said that, but it is rather poignant. So what, Potters, the flight back home, that's going to be fun, isn't it? 8 hours sat on a plane, 8.5 hours. It takes longer to come here than it does to go back home, apparently, because the wind's behind you. And we've flown with Aer Lingus this time, an Irish airline, and they've been fantastic. Coming out here, it was really top notch. And they've not been doing it very long. Back in the day, it used to be Virgin. Virgin still do flights out here, but Aer Lingus was cheaper, so we went with them. And it was brilliant coming in. Food wasn't too bad. It's never brilliant on planes, is it? But it wasn't too bad. The seats were quite roomy. And the films were decent. I think I watched Meg 1, which I haven't watched before. And then I watched Snatch afterwards. Purely for a nostalgia trip, really. Both of those starring the same actor, funnily enough, who has a hairstyle similar to mine. Maybe subconsciously that's why I chose them. But, yeah. I'm looking forward to getting back home now. Just want to get it over with, as I've said in previous vlogs. And once I return home, we'll have a little breather, because we arrive during the day back in the UK. And then, the day after, is back to work with a lot of jet lag. And back to reality, as my dad always likes to say. That's what he always says. End of holiday, when I used to phone him up, he would always say, back to reality, lad. True, really. Anyway, I'll have a sip of Mountain Dew. And enjoy the sound of the crickets for the last time. They're not crickets, are they? They're a particular species, one or two of you said, which I can't pronounce. Can't get my tongue around it, but I will miss. Just coming down here early morning, as I say, it's currently about 8:30 as I'm making this vlog, and just chatting to you guys. One of you's rather wittily said, I took a look last night at some of the comments, and you've said that I could just sit in my living room pretending to be vlogging from Florida, put some palm tree wallpaper up and that. No, there's no point trying to hold on to something and still trying to keep it going once you arrive back home. Your holiday's over, and as a foolish, wise ex-Prime Minister once said back in the 1990s when he got kicked out of number 10, when the curtain falls, it's time to leave the stage. And that's what I'm going to be doing in a minute. I'll be heading back to the room, ready to do the heavy lifting. With a bit of luck, little Toby James has managed to sleep through, because Mrs H didn't want Toby James running round either. He's given us 9 days. He says, I'll give you 9 days, Mummy and Daddy, back home, say hello to Nanny and Grandad, and then I won't come back to Florida because I live here. I don't know. Mind you, if he's had such a good time as he appears to have, job done on our side, isn't it? But once we get back home, no doubt within a couple of days, it'll feel like I've never been away, other than a fading tan and fading memories. And on that rather quiet note and sombre note, I'm going to wrap up this extra little vlog. So what, Potters, this definitely really is the last vlog from Florida for 2023 and this vacation. So until the next time, when I am back home in dear old Blighty and back in familiar surroundings with that Mrs Gent's pie, I promise you, or I promise myself rather, that I will have that. It shall be mine. It is. Bye bye for now.
No refills. See cashier.